Welcome back once again, all of my low-carb friends, and for those of you who are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today I have yet another coconut flour recipe. When I made my coconut flour drop cookies, I had so many people commenting about how they were so glad that I made a coconut flour recipe because they have just been so curious about how to work with coconut flour. And then when I made my last video about how to bake with coconut flour, I had even more people saying, thank you for telling me this because I've been wanting to know how to cook with coconut flour. So I figured, hey, you all like that so much, I am going to show you how to make another coconut flour recipe. So today's recipe is for quick, easy coconut flour drop biscuits. These are probably the easiest biscuit recipe that you will ever make. They are so good, so moist, and the thing that I love about these is you don't have to shape them and you don't have to wait for them to rise. You just scoop them out, put them on your baking sheet, bake them, and bam, they're ready to go, and they are so good. Also, make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to show you a recipe that takes less than 5 minutes to make using these biscuits. And if you want printable versions of these, you can check out my website at janetsdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find printable versions of these and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, next to the subscribe button, there's a little bell. Make sure you click that bell so you can be notified every time I put out a new video. And while you do that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Line a large baking sheet with parchment paper. In a large mixer bowl, whisk together 1/3 cup of coconut flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum, 1½ teaspoons of garlic powder. This is optional. I like to put it in sometimes when I want a little bit of a more savory flavored biscuit. A 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. This also is optional. I, again, put it in when I want more of a savory flavor to my biscuit. If you just want a plain biscuit, you can always leave the onion powder and the garlic powder out. Whisk these all together until they're fully combined and there's no lumps in the flour. Add 4 room temperature eggs. Make sure they are room temperature so your batter is smooth. Beat on low for 10 seconds, just enough to get the dry ingredients moist. Then increase your speed to medium and beat on medium for 30 seconds or until everything is fully combined. Scrape down the sides of the bowl and push everything to the center of the bowl. Then add 1/4 cup of butter that's been melted and cooled. Make sure it is cooled completely. Then beat on medium for another 30 seconds or until the butter is combined and everything is smooth. Scrape down the sides again and push everything to the center of the bowl. Then whisk the batter by hand just a few seconds just to make sure that there are no lumps hiding in the batter. You want your batter really smooth so that your biscuits come out nice and fluffy. Gently fold in a 1/2 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. Now this does not make your biscuit taste cheesy or have stretchy cheese in the middle of it. It just helps really bind those biscuits together and add a little bit of extra fat, which adds a little bit of extra moisture, which causes your biscuits to be nice and moist and soft. Gently fold in the cheese until it's fully combined and evenly spread throughout the batter. Scoop the batter out by tablespoons full and place it on your prepared baking sheet about 2 inches apart. These really don't spread, so you don't have to place them super far apart, but you do want to give them some space so they can expand a little bit. Now I'm making mini biscuits here, so I'm using a cookie scoop and only scooping out 1 cookie scoop full, which is about a little over 1 tablespoon full. If you're wanting to make bigger biscuits, then you'll need to scoop out a little more dough, like maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons depending on how big you want your biscuits. Once you've scooped them all out, make sure that each biscuit is in a circular shape. Remember, coconut flour is gluten-free, so it doesn't expand a whole lot. It does fluff up a little bit after it's baked, but it doesn't expand as much as gluten flour would. So basically, whatever shape you drop your biscuits, that's the shape that it's going to come out after it's baked. So make sure that you keep it in somewhat of a circular shape. Especially if you've scooped it out as a bigger biscuit, make sure you really keep that in a circular shape if you want it to look like an actual biscuit. These aren't going to come out perfectly shaped because they are drop biscuits. Drop biscuits are not perfectly shaped because you do just that. You drop them on your baking sheet. So basically whatever shape you drop them, that's the shape they're going to come out as. Once they're all scooped in shape, place them in the oven, bake them at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes or until they're lightly golden on top. Do not overcook these. 15 minutes was perfect for mine. They turned out absolutely perfect at 15 minutes. So most likely 15 minutes will be perfect for you. Once they're baked, let them cool on the baking sheet for about 5 to 10 minutes so they can firm up. Then transfer them to a wire rack and let them cool completely. Before you cut them to put any butter or anything else on them, let them cool completely. Once they've cooled completely, you can eat them immediately, or you can store them in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 1 week. You can also put these in a freezer-safe container and freeze them. That way you can always have biscuits on hand. You just take them out of the freezer, and you can pop them in the microwave for just about 30 seconds or so just to get the defrost off, and they'll taste like they just came out of the oven. In a medium mixing bowl, combine 8 ounces of room temperature cream cheese. I'm using the ones in the tub that are already softened, but you can use any cream cheese you want to. If you want to use the block cream cheese, you can go ahead and do that. But if you do use the block cream cheese, make sure you soften it just a little bit so you can mix it a whole lot easier. It's hard to mix if it's not softened, so make sure you soften it just a little bit. Add 2 tablespoons of the milk of your choice. Use a fork and stir the cream cheese and milk together until it's completely smooth. Add a 12-ounce can of shredded chicken that's been fully drained. Make sure you completely drain it. Or if you have some leftover cooked chicken, you can just shred up about 1.5 cups of cooked chicken. Stir these together until they're fully combined. Sprinkle in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, an 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, or if you prefer to use fresh onions, you can finely chop up about 2 to 3 tablespoons of finely chopped onion of your choice. Stir these together until they're fully combined. Finely chop up 2 mini sweet peppers and sprinkle them into the cream cheese mixture. Then gently fold them in until they're fully combined and evenly distributed throughout the mixture. You can add more or less of the peppers and onions or any of the seasonings you want according to your taste. Cut the cooked biscuits in half horizontally. Then place 1 large tablespoon full of the cream cheese mixture onto the middle of the biscuit. Use a fork and spread the mixture evenly over the biscuit. Now remember, I made the mini biscuits for this. So if you made larger biscuits, then you'll need to put a little bit more filling, probably 2 to 3 tablespoons or however much filling you think you're going to want on your biscuit. Once you've got the filling in the center, then top the filling with the other half of the biscuit. Then place them back on the same baking sheet that you cooked the biscuits on. Once the biscuits are all filled and on the baking sheet, Place them back into the oven at 400 degrees and bake them for about 2 to 3 minutes or just until the filling is heated through. Once they're fully heated, remove them from the oven. If you need to, let them cool a bit on the baking sheet so you don't burn your fingers. Then once they're cool enough to touch, place them on a plate. Put whatever side dishes you want. I like to serve them with either a side salad or some carrots and my keto ranch. Eat and enjoy. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more coconut flour recipes, then click that thumbs up like button, click the subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know what coconut flour recipes that you'd like to learn how to make or any other recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.